Hello YouTubers, and today I'm going to be reviewing the Keeper of Traken collector set. So let's quickly just go over the packaging for this, because I actually do quite like the packaging for this. So you can see we've got the 4th Doctor, the Melker, the Master, Decade, and also just on the side here we've got the Master's grandfather clock tie. And I do quite like the way it's out, especially with the manipulator source panel, where the 4th Doctor is actually posed holding it actually in the box. We can see some publicity photos which are the same around all sides, and it also says what the set actually includes. And on the back we've got a bio from the Keeper of Traken. And you've had time to pause this. Interestingly, the picture of the 4th Doctor is actually him wearing his full Season 18 costume, whereas this one is him without the coat and without the scarf. So without further ado, let's open this box and take a look at the figures themselves. Right, so let's start off with the Master. The Master. So yes, this is the Geoffrey Beevers Master, and I am so happy that they made a figure of this a few years ago. Now, this is basically the Deadly Assassin Master. Well, it isn't for most parts. However, there are a few subtle differences in it. For one, obviously, the head is a new sculpt, and we'll go over this right now. So, if the camera just gets to focus, we can see here that his skin is a lot darker, but also it's less bony-like. Because of the later makeup, and also we can see that this is a man's actual eyes rather than the ping pong ball eyes of the original. We can also see the teeth here, where these are actual teeth, and actually there's actually a slight gap in the middle, whereas these aren't. And you can also see he has a more pronounced nose, whereas here it's very smooth, very flat. It's also, shows how locked out. It looks a lot more mysterious. It's basically, with the hood over the top like that. You just go. Moving to the hands. The hands appear to be the same sculpt. In fact, I believe that they are the same sculpt. However, they have obviously been darkened down to match the face of the figure. However, the paint does seem a lot softer here, whereas on this one it's a lot crisper, so you can see stuff like the veins poking through. If I just get to focus, you can see more of the veins than you can on this one. Interestingly, on my one, a bit of red, presumably from a 4th Doctor figure or something, has actually gone onto there. To be honest, I don't actually mind it that much. Normally I'm thoroughly against paint bleeds, but it kind of looks like the Master is either bleeding or has literally got blood on his hands, which is nice. This one is moulded in a solid black, whereas this one has a grey wash to it. Now this one is looking greyer than it actually is on camera. This is just because this thing has been sitting on a shelf for ages, years, ever since I got it back in 2010, and it's just got dusty, but it does have a grey out wash, and even the arms are a slightly lighter colour, whereas this one is a solid black, and really a dark black as well, and you can see, under the robes. I'm kind of convinced that the actual body and of this figure is actually the Delgado Master, because it does look very similar. If it's not, because I know that the Delgado Master was released later, though, they may have used this torso piece, because you can sort of see the tunic and that if you do look in there. But while we are on the Master, we might as well go over the grandfather clock. Now, to be honest, I'm not a big fan of this one. I much prefer the one in the Deadly Assassin to this one. Also, my one appears to be slightly bent. It is a rotocast figure, so that means it's got a hole in the bottom, it's completely hollow, and you can actually squeeze the rubber. and on my one the stickers are not aligned at all. However, it does have, and it's quite hard to see on camera, it does have lighter brown and darker brown lines and grey lines. Unfortunately, they're just painted on, they're not actually grooves into the plastic. If they were actually moulded into the plastic, I would have preferred this rather than just being painted on, because it does just look like squiggles. You know, someone's just gone at this with a crayon. However, saying that, it does look nice, especially against Geoffrey Beaver's masker. However, I'm convinced that it's slightly too short. I think it should be slightly taller, say up to here, because when Geoffrey Beavers gets out, his head is just about there on the clock face. However, it does seem slightly short. This probably is just to save costs on it, but you know, when I think of the Masker's TARDIS, I normally do think of the grandfather clock, but not this one. But hey, it's a nice little thing to throw into it. So we've got a Masker with, you know, a TARDIS that, you know, is a more decipherable TARDIS of his, not just a computer bank like it was with the Delgado. Speaking of the Masker's TARDIS, here's the other Masker's TARDIS that comes with this set. It is obviously the Melker, which is a statue that comes to life. It's never actually explained how this thing, you know, actually moves, because it's supposed to be a TARDIS, but who cares? It's a really, really nice sculpt. It's a really nice, well, it's half a figure, and it is mostly a figure, apart from the actual torso and the head, which are actually rotocast, because if I squeeze it, it can actually be squeezed in, and so can the head a bit. I personally don't mind this. This could be for one or two reasons. One, keep the costs down a bit, because we've already got, you know, a new variant of the Fourth Doctor here, which uses new bits of Masker's grandfather clock ties, and a slight variant on the Masker. So maybe that is. However, probably another reason, the more likely, is because even with this being a rotocast figure, it is still fairly top heavy, and it is fairly difficult to stand him up. He only stands like this, which is how he actually did stand in the episode, with one leg forward, which is his right leg slightly forward, and his left leg back. But when you get him standing up, it is pretty steady. His main body colour is sort of a tan, sort of brown colour, and then he's been given a wash over the top of it, so it does look good. I will admit, it does look really nice, and it does actually suit the actual look of the figure. And you've also got the eyes as well. The eyes, which have been painted red, you can see here. However, the bits around it haven't been painted black, which is a shame, because it should really be black around the eyes there, just to black it out a bit more. But they got the eyes being red. It's actually very similar to the Dapol version of this figure. In fact, it's incredibly similar to the Dapol one. However, this has got darker browns and blacks in it, sort of washed through it. So it's got a sort of nice stony feel. It does have a nice stony texture to it, but it's not like they've actually put sand on it, or some kind of something like with the Underhenge Dalek and the Underhenge Cyberman. That, you know, it does have a sort of textured effect, though it doesn't have that bits of stone things that'll fall off in there. It's all one, you know, solid piece. And the articulation for this figure is as follows. So the arms can do about 180 degrees, both of them. I would have liked them to be on a ball joint, though I can't really remember the arms moving that much. They might have bent, but that would have been it. And the head can do the creepy turn. You know, that can do that. This is actually one of the few figures where I've got no fear of making it do a 360, because there's nothing in the way to stop it. The legs are on a ball joint, but it's one of those V ball joints. Think of the Cybermen from the Cybermen from the Parallel Earth. They've got the V crotch joint, which, you know, to be honest, I won't really be moving the legs of this figure anyway. But he has limited articulation. To be honest, I'm not really bothered. I'm not really overly fussed about that, because, you know, for the most part in the story, the Melker doesn't move, because that's kind of his deal. But also, it would be nice if they had been able to put articulation in the legs, but I think it would have ruined the look of it, just so you could make him sort of sit and on the chair and become the Keeper of Traken, the Master Disguise. But oh well, it's a nice little thing, and it's nice, you know. We've got this TARDIS and this Master to go along with it. He looks really nice when I shine a light like that. And of course we have the 4th Doctor from the Keeper of Traken. But this isn't the figure you get with it. This one is. Okay, so I'm kind of cheating here a bit. So, you know, Tom Baker appears like this for the vast majority of the story. But, you know, at the start, he takes his coat off that, and I believe he does at the end. So, here we have the 2 4th Doctors. And he is actually slightly taller. That could be because of the head on my one not being properly plugged in. On my one there is a gap, which is a complete annoyance. However, there are a couple of things. For one, his skin colour is a bit darker. It's a bit more tanned, a bit orangier. He kind of looks a bit like Donald Trump. Compared to the original one here, if I just shine the light again, you can see he's a bit paler, whereas also his eyes are completely mad. You know, the grey hair does seem to be a bit lighter. It's been given a lighter grey wash to it, and there doesn't seem to be much of because this one seems to have a bit of slight hints of brown in there, whereas this one just seems to be black and grey, to be honest. However, where this one improves is that we've got the waistcoat finally with a close enough detail to the actual waistcoat itself. You can see all these nice gold patterns, and they've even painted the buckle on the back. And we've got the gold question marks, which, you know, it may be an awful shirt, but at least they've finally got it right, because on this one the question marks are actually sculpted on, whereas on this one they may not be sculpted on, but they are painted. We've got the shirt with the sleeves going down. However, this shirt should technically be a cream colour, not white. It's actually more of a cream colour, particularly in this story. But oh well, we've got the hands again, which are a lot more orangey compared to the original. But the legs and the boots are the same. I can't tell, are they lighter? Yeah, they are slightly lighter than the original. As you can see, the original, the legs are the same colour as the coat. Whereas on this one, they do seem to be a hair lighter. They seem to be the same colour as the waistcoat. Whether this is just on my one, or what's on yours. And also the boots are different as well. The boots, while they are the same sculpt, they are darker. These are a darker brown from these. These are more of a lighter brown, and these are the, you know, almost blackish colour. However, there are certain improvements to this. So the articulation is as follows: the head can turn, but the arms are now ball jointed. Hooray, hooray, hooray! And they can swivel 360 degrees. He has 90 degree at the elbow and 360 at the wrists. He has waist articulation, hip articulation, which isn't hindered at all since he's not wearing a coat. 90 degree at the knee. And the boots can do a 360 as well, which is all well and good. He comes with his sonic screwdriver as well. It's just the standard one. I haven't bothered to get it out of the box because I don't want to lose it. Also, we do have the nice detail of showing that not all of the buttons have actually been fastened here. You can see that there's a few at the bottom that haven't actually been fastened, which is all nice, well and good. And yeah, it's a nice little variant to put in. To be honest, it would have made more sense if this Fourth Doctor came with a Megalos set, because he's more coatless in that story than he is in this one. But there is one more thing to go through, and that is the Source. Someone has interfered with the power of the Source. So this is the Source manipulator, and as you can see, it uses the ball of the Destiny of the Daleks set, which on my one is actually glued in. On some people's, I've heard that you can actually pull it out. On my one, it's actually glued in, and it's got a hole in the top as well. But you can see all the circuitry on here. It's really nice, all well and recreated. That kind of reminds me of the electromagnetic bomb that came with the Cyber Leader and the Battle Pack, along with other pieces of circuitry here and there. And on the bottom, my one actually has some paint marks on it as well for some reason. But the cool thing about this is, if you put a light through it, you know, that ball does really light up, kind of like it did in the episode. We can't have a lighting side. Actually, if I can make my light flash, so if you have epilepsy, turn off for 5 seconds. Okay, you can look again. So yeah, that is really nice, and to be honest, I should have really come with an Agrico on this, because although I haven't seen Keep Traken in quite a while, I should probably watch it again to see this. But overall, you know, this is a nice set, and it's the one I've been, you know, really looking forward to, particularly Geoffrey Beevers. I absolutely love Geoffrey Beevers. Particularly, you know, and I'm talking about Big Finish here, because in Keep of Traken, you know, for most of it, he's just a disfigured voice throughout of it, talking through the Melka. Whereas he is, you know, hearing him on Big Finish is just absolutely amazing. So, yeah, that is the Keep of Traken set. I actually got this for £26 on eBay. However, they're no longer available for that price, unfortunately. So if you want it now, it is still, thankfully, still available, and you can pick it up for around £35 to £40. So overall, that's it for this review, and I'll see you next time. Bye bye.